a couple of anniversaries just happened. I can't believe it was the 7 years since Parks had its finale.
That's right.
Which is crazy that that's 7 years ago.
Yeah.
8 years ago since this show started and you were our very first guest.
I know. It was
Yeah.
really exciting.
Yes.
I know. And you had another guest, and one of us became president.
Yes.
And it wasn't me.
I always say, I'm going to say it every time you're here, for guests on my first show were you and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden, we said, the only thing is I really want to have Amy first. And he was like, that sounds good to me. And I got to be honest, I think that speaks to a man who has the first female vice president, putting the first black woman on the Supreme Court. And he
Indeed.
I let Amy Poehler go first here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Joe knows what I like.
Joe knows what you like.
Joe knows what I like. I have a present for you, though.
Do you really?
Yeah, because, you know, the 8th anniversary of something, you know, you have to give, like, paper or wood.
Yeah.
And 8 is bronze.
Okay. Is it really bronze? Or are you making it up?
I'm not. It's
Okay,
really bronze. I
okay.
looked it up, Seth.
Okay.
And so I got you a bronze medal for all of you.
Did you really? That's beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
It
So
is.
just know that you've been working hard for 8 years
Thank
and
you.
you got the bronze.
The bronze. Beautiful. I love this.
You know, there's a study that says that bronze medalists are the happiest.
Really?
Yes, because gold medalists have a lot of pressure and they think they're gonna win. Silver medalists are mad they didn't win. And bronze people are like, I can't believe I'm up here.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Doesn't
and then
it?
the rest of your life, I feel like if you're the silver, if you tell someone you're a silver medalist, people will always say, how close were you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But bronze, it's like, I could have been 8th.
Yeah. They're like, do you know how bad this could have been, sucker?
Yep. So
last
congrats
time
on 8 years.
Last time I saw you was a deeply fun couple of days. We got to go to Washington, D.C. because Lorne Michaels got honored at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah.
And what was really fun about it, it was sort of multi-generational SNL people. We got to hang out backstage. Do you have any other memories?
Nope.
Okay. Let's just move
They're
on.
just kind of like a wash of people, right? Like it was like there were stairs, there was some kind of carpet.
Yeah.
Joni Mitchell.
Yep. That's great.
Smokey Robinson.
You should write a book about this night.
I should just do a book that just names and carpets and it was so fun. It was so fun to do it with you.
Yeah.
And it was what a night. Don't remember anything from it. Not because I wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
None of that. It's just now life is just like a watercolor.
Oh, interesting. So you've moved into your
remember-
watercolor period?
I'm in more of my poetry phase where I'm like a name, a flower, a scent.
Yeah.
You know.
That's really interesting because
It
you were
is.
always So, well, you had a celebration recently.
Yes.
I know there's this very tight group of women who worked at SNL at the same time. You
Yeah.
guys are in a text chain that you won't let me look at or see. And
no boys
But
allowed.
you had no boys allowed. But you guys had a birthday party for you and Tina and
Me and Tina and Emily Spivey,
Yeah.
a writer on our show, we all celebrated our 50th birthday during the pandemic, as a lot of people did, so we didn't really get a chance to have a party. So we had a big bash together just this week.
And you guys all, you know, you and Tina knew each other before, but you met Emily at SNL. And you guys, somebody made you a cake.
Yeah, Rachel Dratch made us a cake. Rachel Dratch made us that cake. And she made us a video, too, that was, oh, my God, didn't make us bawl. We had the best time, and we did this Zoom thing where we learned about our Enneagrams. Does anyone know about Enneagrams?
Okay, so more people than I would have guessed.
So, okay, well, there's things outside your world, Seth. But it's like a number that is like, it's like a personality test. I made you take it.
You did.
You are a...
3.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got a couple threes.
Got a couple 3s in the house.
And threes, from what I understand, are driven, ambitious, hardworking. They're called the achievers.
Okay, I'll take it.
They're
Thank
the
you.
talk show hosts.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
And they work really hard, and they're charming. And we all got our numbers, and we all found out our numbers and found out more about our numbers.
And now you believe, would you, if you could go back, would you have wanted to know everybody's number before you started collaborating with them at SNL?
I actually think it was really interesting because it kind of like tells you what motivates you. Like, threes like a lot of praise. Like, you're doing great so far, Seth. This is a great show. You got your medal.
We like our medal. We like our medal.
Yep, I got your medal. And I'm an 8, which is the challenger. 8. So I'm a challenger. Like safety and security is important to me. I want to know who's in charge. And are you the person in charge here?
I I mean, I feel like I am today.
Today,
Yeah.
okay, good to know.
Now wait, does this mean that this is just branding, the 8 on my medal?
Oh my God, I should wear this because I'm an 8. I didn't even think about that, but yes, it is about
That's
me.
the thing, because 8s are very passive aggressive with their gift giving.
Yes, they give you a gift and then you're like, wait a minute, it might look better on me.
Classic 8.
Classic
That's
8.
why it's an 8, because it's like
threes and 8s love each other.
Oh, now I want to ask this: are we good? Would it make sense if you didn't know anything about our styles, if you were putting together a update duo,
Yeah.
to say put a 3 and an 8?
100%. Here's why. Because 3s work really hard and they want to achieve, and 8s are like, we got this. And 3s are like, we don't have this. I'm like, we got this.
Oh, so interesting. The thing that you want to know who's in charge because you want to then like it's you. That means you are not then in charge.
Let me be clear. I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I know there are people that are much better at explaining this, but because I'm an 8, I'm already an expert. Like, I think I'm
Gotcha.
But what I believe to be true is 8s like 3s. They like hard work. They like that. They like that. That's where they get a lot of self-esteem.
Well, it sounds like what I liked. I mean, I could describe it outside the number system, but it seems like what I would like about working with an 8 is somebody who I get very stressful about how things are going to go. And doing update with you, you did have a vibe of like, we got this, which was exactly what I needed before going on stage.
Yeah, I think it was so interesting to hear everybody's number, and also just to like figure out what motivates people, like how they like to work, and you read and you're like, you read some numbers and you're like, the emotional artist, like, oh my God, how do you get through the day? Like, you sit in your feelings all day? Like, well, that must be nice. Those are 4s. No, but it was really fun to do it, and it was fun to do it with the ladies, and we were laughing really hard because it was explaining all of us to a T.
I wish I would be there, and one of these days you should allow boys.
No boys allowed.
Okay, great.
Sorry.
The pandemic really hammered home how a lot of people want to return to comedy. Why is that?
Well, another study I read.
You read a lot of studies.
I do.
Yeah.
Is that
Did this study give you a number at the end of it?
Yeah, at the end. And it was 100. I got 100. That when you're going through an anxious time, you like to watch things where you know how they're going to end. It's why we return to like comedy during the pandemic. It's why we like to watch things over and over again. It's why we fall asleep to shows that we love. And so there's this warmth that happens when you're watching stuff over and over. Because like we don't know how this interview is going to end.
No, we don't.
It could be a disaster.
Right. We don't know. I mean, it's going fine right now, but we have had some stuff take left turns.
This desk could explode. The floor could fall out from under us. I could stomp out of here.
Yeah.
So there's anxiety in that. And whereas, but with like shows like it's the kind of show that you remember watching when you were sick.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
I mean, I have a weird relationship with it because of that. Like, I never watched it in like the full health, the full bloom of health.
Well, it's like a show that always felt like it came with your TV, like it was always on.
Yeah.
But as you'll see in the doc, like they have a really long career that lasts long after that show, and they're legends.
So an interesting distinction is made between their performance styles. She comes at it very much as an actor.
Yes.
He comes at it from a musician, which has a far looser style, not just in performance but in prep.
Yeah.
Who did you see yourself in with that?
Well, I think I saw myself a little bit more in the Desi world, but it made me. Do you rehearse? You like to rehearse a lot, right?
Not anymore.
Oh.
So the weird thing about the pandemic is I stopped. We didn't have time to rehearse.
You stopped trying.
I stopped trying. I sort of looked out at the world and I said, nobody else is trying.
You were like, no more suits.
No more suits. I'm not putting a tie on. This isn't a job interview.
Ooh.
But then we had to move everything up, and then when we came back, we used to do a little rehearsal in front of like 40 or so people that we'd find. And we stopped doing it, and I like doing the show a lot more.
Like it better.
I
know what you mean.
like finding out in the moment because it does feel a little bit more like the sort of improv shows we used to do, where you didn't know in advance.
Yeah, well, we worked with a bunch of amazing people who had different processes of how to work. Processes? Proci?
We can find out. I have a lot of helpful ass who watch the show that will let us know.
Helpful ass. Can you tell us what we did wrong? And I'm thinking about Forte, and I'm
Yep.
thinking about Parnell. Chris
Yep.
Parnell used to rehearse, and we had dressing rooms next to each other, and he'd always be going over his lines. And I remember being like, oh, I should go over my lines. Anyway, so they came at it very differently. People think that Lucy was this really loose, like natural, but she worked really, really hard, especially because she did so much physical stuff.
Well, I used to listen on, when we were at SNL, a Walkman of people I had to do impressions of. I would listen to tapes of them over and over again, and I feel like I was the most wooden impressionist. And now, I don't know if you've been watching the show, I'm incredible at impression.
You really are.
I mean, I've just come, and I put
no
thought into it.
You've let go.
I say to them, you come to me. You come
No!
to, you speak through me. You don't understand this,
you
you're an
invite
8,
them.
this is a 3, would understand what I'm saying right now.
Oh my God, disgusting.
You come in, and then they speak through me.
Ew, you invite them.
You're making a face I don't.
Who do you think you're good at in impressions for real?
Okay.
You think you're good at Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, I don't. I'm
Okay.
gonna do it. Ready? I think I do a really good Vince Vaughn. Ready?
Oh.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, I'll close my eyes.
Buddy, buddy, buddy.
I would never in a million years think that was Vince Vaughn.
Okay.
That's it?
That was it, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my Al Pacino.
Oh, okay. I love Al
ready?
Pacino.
Okay,
yeah,
ready?
what a great impression.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay, wait. I need to set it up.
Oh, no, that's not a good sign. I need to set... Do you need to set it up in I'm about to do Al Pacino?
No, I already done that. He was in an award show, and he was in, it was like one of those award shows where people were in Zoom rooms. And
Yeah.
it was really, so that's what,
Oh, yeah, I've been
that
in
was
one of
because
those.
it's a perfect phrase for Al Pacino. Ready?
Okay.
I'm in the Zoom room.
That's good.
It's better, right?
That's good.
Yeah.
Buddy. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. That was great, Seth. It was like he was here.
Hey, you know what? I don't think we got the gold or the silver.
We did it, but we got the bronze.
We got the bronze.
We got the bronze tonight.
Amy Poehler, everybody.
On the podium.
Now, I do not see you barely enough anymore, but
know.
this has been a hot week because this is the second time I've seen you this week.
Yeah.
Because you are prepping for the Restless Leg Tour.
Right. So we're getting ready for our show. So you very kindly allowed me to come and practice some stand-up here.
Yes. So we finished taping on Tuesday, and then I got to tell the audience Amy Poehler is going to come out and try stand-up jokes.
Yeah, and it was a hot crowd, and I'm very nervous. I think it gave me the confidence I didn't need. But yeah, we're getting ready to go out, and it was really fun to practice it. And I don't want to blow my stand-up on this show.
Yeah, of course.
I want to get paid for it.
You have always said your art is to get paid for.
I'm always like, my C material is what I'm going to bring to this day.
Gotcha. So if you're watching this, if people at home are watching this and they don't like the jokes, just know this is not your best stuff.
I didn't even work on it. Literally. I think before it was like, what do you and Seth want to talk about? I was like, whatever. I did talk about a couple things, and one of the things is that how much I don't like being pranked.
You have never and I believe that people might think, oh, Amy's so fun.
Comedy.
She's an improviser. She loves being on her toes. You hate a prank. You always have.
To me, if you throw me a surprise party, you're not my friend.
Yeah.
And I would just turn around and walk out. And I'd say, lose my number. I'd scream, lose my number to all my friends. And I think sometimes people are like, I don't like pranks, but they love pranks.
Yeah. Well, the way you said it really made.
I don't like pranks. Don't prank me. Don't prank me. I really, really don't like pranks.
Yeah. You remember, it wasn't a prank, but when our dear friend, producer of the show, Mike Shoemaker, when he left SNL, we did a surprise party for him, and you and I were working together, and this is how bad you are at pranks as well.
Yeah.
You tried to text me, do you think Shoemaker knows we're throwing a surprise party, and who did you text instead?
Shoemaker.
Yeah. So I think you internally don't like pranks so much that you want to ruin them for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always knew that Shoemaker would want to know that there was a surprise party being thrown,
Yeah.
And he's always very nicely lied and said, I don't even know what that meant. And I was like, it meant we were having a surprise party. And I blew it. Oh, that was a terrible moment.
Now, do you consider magic in the same?
Yeah, I don't like magicians. I don't like magic. I don't like anyone. I don't with magic. I don't like pick a card. No, pick someone else. Where did the card go? I went into my car and I left because I don't like magicians. But I do think that I was hypnotized without my consent by a mentalist.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait,
I've never told this story.
Okay.
Because currently there's a lawsuit pending. I'm just kidding. But I was in London. Yes, I go to London and travel. You're not the only one. And I was in.
That's so weird though, because the other day you were like, I don't like going to London.
So I was in the UK, and I was at a fancy dinner many years ago. Tons of fancy people there. Expensive dinner, you know.
Okay. Oh, so out at a proper restaurant. That's what they say over there. Proper.
Oh, they do. That's quite funny, Seth. But I sit next to someone who's considered like a mentalist.
Okay.
Like one of those weirdo freaks.
Yeah.
And if I had known
that's
that,
a magician who's like bad at shuffling, right?
No card skills. But if I had known he was like that, I would have never sat next to him. I would have got a taxi or a
black cab.
Black cab. But at the end of the dinner, I stood up and I was like, "Dinner's on me." And I remember everyone being like, "Really? This is going to be like 50,000 pounds or whatever," because they don't go by dollars there. And I don't know if you know. And I picked up the check and I went home and I thought, I think I was hypnotized. I'm not kidding. Have I ever told you this story?
No.
I think that he was saying like, you should check on your food and make sure it's picked up. Like, I think he touched me in some weird way and he made me pick up the check.
He mentalized you?
Or I was just trying to big time it.
Now, I will say, because I have known you to be a big timer at fancy dinners. It's one of the great things about there's one downside to it. It's great to be your friend because the amount of times you will stand up and offer to pay for dinner is the best.
Yeah.
The bad side is how often you then realize you don't have your wallet.
That's right. That's right. At least 4 or 5 times I have made a big
show.
A big show.
Like you wanted to get up, so you wanted to make sure the rest of the table didn't hear it by word of mouth. You wanted everyone to hear.
That's right.
Polar's got it.
I got it, guys. And people would be like, "Come on, no way," and I'd be like, "Let me take care of this."
You're like, you all work hard.
Exactly. And then I'd say, "Oh, I don't have my wallet." And then everyone would go, "Okay, I guess we'll pay for it then." Yep.
Hey, here's another. So we presented it at the Emmys this last year.
Yeah.
And you have, this is how little you like surprises or pranks.
That's right.
You have a little trick, a backstage trick, because they give you the envelope.
Yeah,
and
I hope I don't get in trouble for this, because we've hosted many things.
Yeah.
But I like to look and see who won.
Yeah. And by the way, I remember at the time, while you were like, you're allowed to check, this was me.
Yeah, you did not like it. And I was like, who cares? What are they gonna do? Kick us out of here?
Yeah, exactly.
I was like checking, and sometimes if you squeeze the envelope like this, you can read the name, or you can hold it up to the light.
Yeah.
So I like to do that, and we gave it to the well-deserving, amazing Sheryl Lee Ralph.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yes,
she was amazing.
incredible.
There she was giving it to you.
That's us. But what I have found is when you know who's getting it, it's very hard not to look at them.
Right.
So I was like, when I found out it was Sheryl Lee Ralph, I was just staring at Sheryl Lee Ralph like. I was like, get up! So I was like, ladies and gentlemen, the winner is.
Now, every time you present in the future, people are going to know this, and they're going to, when you walk up, they're like, she already knows.
Yeah,
And people are going to be in the audience trying to make eye contact with you.
But I do like knowing who's going to win, and I just like knowing just 1 second before everyone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, is that bad? Is that weird?
No, I think it's good. I mean, what made me happy about it was even though you know, right, there was one of 6 and you know all their names, I'm so nervous that you're going to screw up the moment. So I like just like having my lines a little bit earlier.
Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. And you know, you can change it. If you don't like the winner, just change it.
That's the other rule they don't know you can do.
You just
remember they gave us the envelope. They go, no peeking, and also say whoever you want. The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, not a show when I met you almost 2 decades ago I would have thought would be a show you'd produce.
Yeah, well, I'm always growing and changing.
Yeah.
And, but it's so cool. It's based off of a book, and it is this idea of kind of how do you want to go through your things? How do you want to live your life? What conversations do you want to have while you're still around? And what stuff can you get rid of to not burden the people who are left when you're gone? So I do the voiceover for it. We produced it along with Scout, the great producers who do Queer Eye. We have 3 great Swedish death cleaners who come in and are like incredibly Swedish in the best way. I mean that because they're so direct.
Yes.
And I think clarity is kindness. I like direct people.
Yep.
As you can probably tell. And so they just say they get to the point.
They're almost the opposite of magicians.
100%. Magicians are like, I'm over here, I'm over there, and you're like, no, you're going to jail. You're in jail. That's where you should be in jail. No, Swedes. So
your brother, married to a wonderful Swedish woman, has a Swedish family, lives in Sweden.
Yes.
So you've become very aware of the beautiful benefits of the Swedes.
And you would think I could speak more Swedish, but I can't. But I love that country, and my brother lives there with his family. And yeah, and the Swedes have this way of just saying like, this is ugly, and you know, you don't like it, and we don't like it, and you need to go, it needs to go away. And you're just like, wow. They say it really fast, and I like that about them.
And do you find having engaged with this, do you find you're good at that now in your life? Are you getting rid of things? Are there things that you're keeping because you want to be able to pass them on?
I think, right, everybody's trying to figure out what they should keep for their kids, what their kids will like, especially we have kids and you think about what their first apartment, you know, if they would like this old rotary phone. Like, how many DVDs are they going to be into?
It might come back. I feel as though by the time your kids go to college.
Well, I do feel, though, that AI is going to kill us. And I, you know, we're Gen X, so I think we are the last generation that are not going to mate with robots. And I think we will fight against the robots. But Gen Z will love and marry robots.
Right. And that will be hard because we will be obviously waging some sort of, underground revolution against the robots, and at the same time, your sons are going to bring them home.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you're going to have to act like you like the robot.
Exactly. You're going to have to make the choice. Like, do I save my half robot, half human son?
Yeah.
Or do I kill him because I know he's going to put worms in my brain or whatever they're going to do? I can't even imagine I'm no robot. I'm a human. But I don't like it, and I won't date a robot.
You won't?
No.
Interesting. Even if...
Nope. No matter
Can I try to sell you on it? All
You're
right.
not going to sell me on it. I'm not dating a robot.
Okay, but here's the thing. Here's how the AI love robot that we're developing works. At first, it's going to be bad, right? It's not going to work out. But each successive date, the AI will learn more about you. And then by like date 10, you'll be like, oh, he really understands. You have to feed the AI robot.
Oh, I have to feed it? Oh, great. So it's like a human man then? Is that what you're talking about? I have to tell it what I like, and then it knows?
Yeah. Also, you got to plug it in. You got to remember to plug it in.
I have to return every couple years. I'm like, it's broken. I need a new. It's like the iPhone. I need a new robot boyfriend. No, I won't date a robot no matter how hard you try, unless he picks up food on the way home.
Wait, that's the one thing? I feel like robots almost already do that.
Yeah, those robots that like go, have you seen them on the street? Well, you guys probably don't care because you're all Gen Z and you're like, that's cute.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be cute when you go home and you lift up your covers and it's living there and it's gonna kill you, strangle you, but.
Do you feel like, are you overwhelmed by the technology your kids are engaging with?
Yeah, although, have you tried that chat? Maybe you guys have done bits on it here about chat GPT.
Yeah, no, we haven't really messed around with it much.
You haven't messed around with
Yeah.
it? Okay, so it can't really write a joke yet.
No.
I don't think. And once it writes a joke, like,
yeah,
game's over.
Yeah, no, that's it. We're just going to do one real sad last show.
Yeah.
There's going to be a robot dressed just like me sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
It's like...
And it's just like, it can't write comedy yet, but sure it will in like a week.
Yeah. This is like, you know what? It's so great that you're here on our last week.
Our last human week.
Oh, man.
Our last
what a
human
great thing to have you here on our last human week. You were here on our first human week, and you were here on our last week.
I know, you're coming. When is your anniversary for your 10 years? Next year?
Next February is 10 years. Isn't that
that's
crazy?
awesome.
It really flew by. And I always say it, I gotta give credit where credit due because our first show, you were first. It was very important to me that you were our first guest. And then that meant we had to ask the second guest, who was a young fella named Vice President Joe Biden. Now, usually vice presidents, when they're on a 12:30 show, would go first.
Yes.
And we did say to Joe Biden, would you be okay following Amy Poehler? And to his credit, he was like, I'll follow her anywhere. So, very charming. Very sweet of him. Well, it's lovely to have you here as always. How about break a leg wherever you may bring your legs? I'm very excited for the Restless Leg Tour. I think we're all very excited.
Thank you very much, Seth. I really appreciate it, and I love coming here. You know I love you. Thank you so much. I love you. Goodbye.
City just feels better to have you back in it.
Oh, it's so nice to be here on the last show of the year
Last
for
show
you.
of the year,
Big
yeah.
show.
You're someone, I've known you for a long time. I feel like you do take the turning into a new year seriously. You do see it as an opportunity.
I do. I have a lot of thoughts about it I want to talk about, but I do want to say thank you for having me on because I know this is an important show. And Christmas show,
Yeah,
and like,
we put a
holiday
lot of thought
show,
into
a
it.
lot of thought. And when you guys called me yesterday
Yeah.
to do it,
It was a yesterday situation.
it felt great. It
Yeah.
felt great.
It was a real bait and switch, too, because we were making dinner plans
That's
with
right.
you.
We had dinner last night as normal friends.
Yeah.
With Mike Shoemaker, producer on the show, and we were, and then I'm just curious. You don't have to name any names, but what happened? Like,
Yeah.
who was supposed to be here?
Are you saying that maybe there was somebody who was scheduled to be here
I
and
just
they
have a
dropped out last minute?
I just have a feeling that you guys don't usually do day of bookings.
Yeah.
You know? But
It's
I'm-
kind of my improv background is like the day of it.
Yeah. Okay.
I love to like day of it.
Don't lean in when you.
Well, I don't know.
But I'm thrilled to be here. I feel like the neighbor next door, and you're borrowing my sugar, if you
Yeah,
will.
absolutely. Thank you for that.
But we are gearing up on the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Your parents are actually here.
my
Bill and
parents in the
Eileen
audience
Poehler are in the
tonight.
audience
My
tonight.
parents in the audience.
I've known them for a very long time.
You have Hillary and Larry and Bill and Eileen have gone to many SNL shows. at the same
A
time.
lot of after parties.
Yep, and we have a
I
kind
think
of.
both of our dads think that if Lorne Michaels had met them when they were a little bit younger, they would have been on the show. Yeah.
They would have been on the show. But we have a tradition. My parents come to town, and we take the kids, and we go, and we haggle for the Christmas tree.
Oh, you buy the Christmas tree together.
Yeah, so-
Who's the head haggler of your family?
My father is head haggler.
Yep.
Haggler extraordinaire, and he goes to the Christmas tree guy, our wonderful guy that we buy from every year, and he's like, $200, I'm out of here. And you know, the guy plays along, and he's like, no, wait, you're a great customer. I gotta get you this tree. And we do it every year, and when the kids were little, they were blown away.
Yeah.
They were like, we almost didn't get a tree. Like,
Right.
And now I think they're catching on.
Now they're like, oh, I'm watching a
Yeah.
show. This is like a panto.
Yeah, that is our nativity scene. That's what. Yeah.
So you've got Christmas and then you got New Year's.
New Year's, you have your resolutions.
Fred,
Resolutions,
are
Fred,
you
you have
ready
any?
to go? Resolution?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, great. We don't want to. I don't want to know them.
Fred, if you don't mind, we don't want to
Fred,
hear
I don't
it.
want to hear them.
Yeah, we
I
don't
want to
wanna
hear them. But I wrote some resolutions.
Yeah.
I wrote some resolutions.
Great.
If it's okay, I want to share them with the audience so you guys
Yes.
can support her. All right.
Are you confident? Are you confident you're going to keep your resolutions?
I didn't put that as a resolution, so no.
Okay.
But let's see. Let's see if it happens. Okay. So in 2024, when people say, "Hey, how's it going?" instead of saying "good," I'm going to say, "I'm doing the best that I can."
Oh, that's good.
And I think that
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. In 2024, I'm going to continue to ignore cats
Okay.
because
Yeah.
I like them fine.
Yeah.
They're, everyone should treat cats wonderfully.
Yeah.
And I get I'm a little bit allergic, but if you ignore them, they become obsessed with you.
Oh.
So every time I go over to someone's house, the cat jumps in my lap, like gets in my purse and wants me to take it home because I ignore it. So
you're not ignoring it because you hate cats. You're playing hard to get to sort of covet. Wow.
maybe. Okay, Seth, this year, next year, I'm gonna create some new slang and I wanna try it out here
Oh,
first.
great. We love new slang here.
Instead of calling someone a dummy,
Yep.
I think we should call him a ding dong.
Okay.
Which isn't that new, but I don't think it's used enough. Like, what a ding dong.
Yeah, kids aren't using it.
Kids aren't using
And
it.
I think it would be bringing it back into vogue would be very nice.
But I know that slang needs to mean two things.
Right.
Right? Like, it can't just mean one thing anymore.
Yeah.
So I also think ding dong would be a good thing to replace what's up.
Okay.
So, like, if you don't hear from your friend, you just text them and you go ding dong,
I see.
ding dong, and then you can go ding dong, ding dong.
Oh, there you go. Both uses.
So
Yeah. Ding dong. I like that. You're sort of like knocking at the door of their psyche, being like, hello.
Exactly.
Ding dong, knock, knock.
Knock, knock. Yeah, it's like knock.
Yeah.
It's a little bit like knock, knock. But it's cool. It's cool. I'm just gonna get Travis Scott to say it, and we'll be good.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna end all my work emails with, oops.
And you're not worried that people might reread the email to try to find a mistake?
No, I just think it's gonna cover me HR-wise, and I think that'll be good.
That's great.
Oh, I'm gonna start a cult.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
You'll be so good at it. Can I just
Thank
say?
you. Well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go off the list.
Okay.
I'm gonna get off the page.
Okay, great.
Do you think you would be more apt to join a cult or start a cult?
I'm a joiner.
This is
100%. Like,
Okay.
I actually think,
I think I'm a joiner too.
I think you
Yeah.
are too. I think you are too.
I
So-
think the main thing for me in a cult is like, I want to stop making any decisions.
Yeah. Well, good news. In my cult, you're not gonna need to make any decisions.
Okay. I would always pick you as a starter, not a joiner, FYI.
100%. And what I love so much about cults is how it's like a Tim Robinson sketch, like how the rules come in and at first they sound really good and they always end up with like, and then, I guess rule 7 is like, everybody have sex with me? Like,
Yeah.
it always gets to that.
Yeah.
But in my cult, it's going to be more like mothering. Like there was this really good documentary. I don't know if you saw it. It was about. I won't mention the cult because I don't want to bring up the competition.
Yeah, of course.
But it was all about like mother God.
Oh.
Mother
So
God.
either some former members or they
Former
saw
members.
the doc. It must be so exciting. Do you think when you get out of a cult, obviously it's a bad time.
Yeah.
But when you get out, do you still have that thing like it's your hometown where somebody mentions it and you can't help it going, woo!
Ooh, that's my cult. I mean,
Yeah.
that's bad.
That was bad,
Yeah.
but I met good friends. It was bad, but I made a lot of friends.
You're right. I still tailgate at the cult.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to be like a mother, I want to be called some kind of mother. And,
Okay.
And what I liked about that particular cult is that when the cult leader was tired, everyone was like, "Mother is resting."
Yeah.
Just a few more, Seth.
That's great.
I'm gonna make one robot friend next year,
Oh,
and I suggest everyone does.
okay.
Because-
now, does like, can I ask? Well, go ahead. I feel like, can I ask?
Yeah. of
Like, is
course.
Siri count, or do you need like an actual robot?
I think it's gonna have to count because
Okay.
I don't know how many actual robots I'm gonna get to meet next
Yeah.
year. So Alexa, Siri, I feel like that will count, but I do think we're gonna need to have at least one friend when the war starts.
Yeah. To like vouch for you?
To whatever, vouch, translate, hide
Yeah,
us,
yeah, yeah.
whatever it is. Like
Right.
we're gonna. So I think we're gonna need to get rid of human friends and make more robot friends.
Okay.
And my GPS has an Australian accent for some reason.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why, so I'm gonna try to make friends with her.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Can you do real quick your GPS telling you to turn? Wait, do you have to do that face before you do?
Australian.
I mean, by the way, can I say the minute you did it, I'm like Australian. If I walked in,
Rise up lights.
what?
Rise up lights.
Razor blades? Why does
When
your
you say-
GPS say razor blades?
When you say when you say rise up lights, it sounds like razor blades
Oh.
in Australian. Rise up lights.
Oh, that's good. That's
Ah.
like, did you ever hear that air, hair, lair is how to do a good, fancy British person saying, oh, hello there. Hair, lair.
All right, you do your British, I'll do my
Okay.
Australian. Rise up lights.
Hair, lair.
No. That's good.
Can I?
That was like a PBS.
That was our master class
That was our
right there.
was like a PBS show. That was so good. Okay, and then lastly, I have a couple quick resolutions for you if you're ready.
You've written my resolution.
Yeah, a few for you, Seth. That's what it says. You ready? Okay, number one, I think next year you should start tipping.
Can I say my thing? I mean, you've been at dinner with me. You've heard me say it. The money is for all of it, though.
No, Seth, we've gone over this.
Why just price it into the hamburger?
Think about it. Think about tipping next year.
Okay.
Okay. I know you're going to disagree with me on that. You know how they say dance like nobody's watching? I think maybe you should start dancing like people are watching.
Just like keep it in mind.
Just because people are watching. Very famous. You have a show, people are watching.
I remember, at some SNL after parties, I mean, if there was a catchphrase you had at the after party, it was you being like, people are watching.
I would grab you and go, people are watching. Yeah. And then the last one is, I think you should make a robot friend.
Okay.
And then I think we should introduce them to each other, and then we could have a robot wedding, a robot wedding.
Oh my God, a robot wedding would be so fun.
And robot babies. We could officiate a robot wedding.
This was, can I say you are, one of the great last-minute guests of all time. That was fantastic.
My God. Thank you guys so much.
So good.
I wrote this in the car.
So good that you did not even plug yourself. But I just want to say very quickly, this is my favorite podcast of the year. Say More with Dr. Sheila. Check it out. If you live in New York City, go see these two at the Beacon Theater. They're going to do 11 shows in February, and you're doing shows all over the country as well.
It's been so fun. We're just partying on the road. We're going nonstop.
Yeah.
We do a show. We get right home. We take a bath. We go to Bloomingdale's the next day. Every day, rinse, repeat. Show, bedtime, Bloomingdale's, show.
The road.
Yeah, the road.